2022 City Council meeting. Please call the roll.
Garza.
Here.
Fast.
Here.
Bagwell. Here. Richardson.
Here.
Pyrus de Carvalho.
Here.
Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This morning's prayer will be given by Pastor Michael Thompson DeGree. Thank you.
Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we give thanks for the gift of this beautiful fall day. We're grateful for our community, Hutchinson, Kansas, and for these leaders who've answered the call to serve. We ask that you bless our community and you bless our meeting today, that we may make wise decisions for the common good and always to be mindful of those who are in need and vulnerable and often overlooked. In all these things, we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Thank you. Next item, please.
Item 4A, a presentation by Cause for Pause.
Good morning. My name is Kelly Hutchinson, 219 Countryside Drive here in Hutch, and I am the Vice President of Cause for Pause, Inc., which is a nonprofit here in town. We work along with the shelter, and we also help a great deal, and matter of fact, we run the program for spay-neuter for low-income folks and also for emergency services for pets for low-income folks. And before I jump in here, I'd like to just announce that I've got quite a bit of representation of our board of directors from Cause for Pause there along the back wall.
Strong group of women, I noticed.
Yes, very strong. When the city made a commitment to provide humane and comprehensive care to animals running at large in our community, they also requested that there be a support group along with the shelter to deal with the broader issue of pet overpopulation and the euthanization of healthy pets. And through 15 years of history, Cause for Pause has provided a program called STOP, where we have been able to spay and neuter the pets of low-income folks to the tune of over 6,000 pets. Year to date, we also have a program called Healthy Paws, where we help in emergency situations for those animals. One of our higher visibility items that we join along with the city, and we greatly appreciate the cooperation on this, is our dog park, which is located out by the shelter on Severance. The city donated this land graciously, and we raised the first $50,000 in order to get the fence up and get things started. And our dog park is visited by over 300 folks on a regular basis. Another item that we have is the rescue van, and our rescue van makes trips in-state and out-of-state to get animals to other shelters, rescues, breed-specific rescues, so that when we're overpopulated, those animals have an opportunity to be adopted in another community where they do have a need for those animals. And that is done as a joint, we provided the van, the city cooperates with us and pays a lot of the expenses, the gas and the insurance, but we greatly appreciate that relationship. And we've been able to save thousands of dogs and cats by using that solution cooperatively with you. We also are the sole support of the Hutchinson Police Department K-9 unit.
Sorry.
Feel a little meta. You heard yourself.
I thought maybe that was, I said Hutch PD and a radio went off. So. Anyway, the Hutch Police Department K-9 unit, which they currently have 3 K-9 dogs that are officers working to reduce drugs in our community. And then more recently, they have an animal that is a service animal for the crisis unit. And this animal is able to go out on crisis calls. And all of those have been funded by Cause for Pause. And we also do some fun community events. We had a Halloween party on Saturday, and that is spelled H-O-W-L for the record. And so we have community members with and without dogs come out. Sometimes entire families, including the dog, are dressed in outfits. But it's a fun time for the community, and it's also an opportunity for us to kind of showcase the animal shelter because it's held there, and also Cause for Pause. And this year, our crisis response dog and his officer, Officer Jones, were both there. And that dog did come from the Hutchinson Animal Shelter and has been trained to be a crisis response dog. So we view our organization as part of the health continuum of the city in helping with the health and opportunities for folks as well as for the dogs and cats to keep them healthier and to keep our community healthier, to reduce the overpopulation. And we appreciate the opportunity. We haven't been here for about 3 years, COVID, but we want to be able to report to you more often and talk about our joint relationship with you and how much we appreciate that. So we're looking forward to more cooperation together in the future, and thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Kelly, and
Thanks,
for your
Kelly.
leadership and the leadership of the entire board. Our community is really unique in its size and having the dog park and the shelter because of the advocacy and fundraising efforts of your organization. So we're really grateful that you're willing to partner with us to that extent. So
Thank you so much.
Okay, next item, please.
Item 4B, oral communications from the audience.
Okay, this is the portion of the meeting where we allow people in the audience to address the council on items that are not on the agenda. We ask that you approach the podium, state your name and zip code, and please limit your remarks to 5 minutes. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the council?
Good morning, Mayor, council members. My name is Greg DeGarmo, 67501. I'm the president of SEIU Local 513, representing the City of Hutch workers. Last month, I didn't have an opportunity, but I wanted to comment. I'd like to applaud the city management and the council for approving the contract with the police. I think it's very important. We have Chief Hooper and his staff do a wonderful job, and they're a very important part of this community. And we need to maintain a competitive wage to keep those good employees that we do have. I think with the improvement of the wages, I think the police sergeants going up at 10.9% and the police officers at 13% is a great step to maintain the staff that we have. They're, like I said, they're doing an excellent job. And I'd just like to applaud them, for all of you, for approving that and trying to maintain the staff that we have. I know there's always a pull from larger cities that may pay more or something, but it's important to keep the staff that we do have. So thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate your comments. Are there others in the audience who would like to address the council?
Good morning, Justin Combs, Director of Parks and Facilities. I have 2 items, so do I get 10 minutes, I guess? Is that how it goes? No, I'll be brief. First one I want to touch on real quick is Farmington Park. I know there's been some conversations about the project. Just want to give you a quick update on why it looks like why we started and stopped, and we'll hopefully pick that up in the next 2 weeks. The primary reason why we started and then stopped was we had a really good opening from a weather standpoint. We were super hot and dry, and we had an opening for our dirt contractor. Ward Davis is the general contractor who's doing the work. Rick's Dozer Service is doing the dirt work. He had an opening in his schedule that allowed him to get in there and do the cutting in the path where the path's going to go. There's also a second project that's going on in that same location. It's an engineering project where they're regrading some of the ditch and replacing 2 culverts. So it worked well for Rick to get in there and start that project because the ditch was dry at that point. We are also then waiting on Ward Davis to finish another project at the zoo. And that's a time-sensitive project that has grant money tied to it. And then he's working on another project for engineering on Lorraine Street. So
Yeah.
Ward Davis is very busy working for us. That project is still on schedule. He should be back within the next 2 weeks to start the concrete. Our completion date has always been in the spring of '23. So really, it was just a good opening to get our dirt contractor in there. Rick's Dozer is extremely busy, so we saw the opportunity. But we do understand how it looks to the community that we showed up and then left. So,
Justin, I did have a question on that, if you don't mind. So I think the general public doesn't recognize when a project is started, like what the end date is. And so we have a communication kind of method via email to neighbors, right? I don't know if that's being used. I know we use it for street projects. I don't know if we use it for parks projects. But if we could just communicate that, when we sign these contracts, there's an end date that might be 9 months down the road. And so I just open to ideas about how we better communicate that we're not just abandoning a project, Yeah.
For this project, Hutchrek's a great resource because it's one of their neighborhood, healthy neighborhood. So we can definitely use them as a method to push that data out or that information out.
Yeah, I just think that'd be helpful because I think people genuinely believe nothing's being done, or,
Yeah.
and they don't recognize the competing projects across the community, so.
Yep, understood.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, second project, unless there's any other questions on Farmington, or second topic. I wanted to really just bring to your attention and get some initial feedback on a grant opportunity that I've been made aware of in the last few weeks. That's through the CDBG project. So I'm sure everybody's familiar with that, but for the first time, those funds are being made available to parks, trails, sidewalks, community recreation facilities. Historically, it's never been, those projects have never been allowed. Our community does qualify, so there's some thresholds as far as low to moderate income. We are on the list that qualifies to receive these funds. It is a match program with a minimum of 25%. In the language they pushed out, they kind of lean more towards a 50-50 match with a maximum of $750,000. The reason why I wanted to put it out in front of everyone today is by the end of the month, so by October 31st, we have to have an agreement with a grant administrator. We've historically always used SCED to do that for us. We've had some initial conversations. Jim Seitnager has helped facilitate some of those conversations with SCED. They're very interested in helping us. However, before I proceeded and signed a contract with them, I just wanted to make sure it was something that council was aware of and supportive of. If we do proceed with SCED, there's no risk involved. They will only charge us a fee if we get the grant. So I think it's a 5%. If we don't get the grant and we use them, then there's no fee. So there's really no risk. There could be an opportunity to have them help write the grant, which there would be a fee associated with that, but we can kind of negotiate that down the road.
Have you already identified projects?
Yeah, so I've got a couple projects in mind, and so I don't want to be too vague, but I haven't had enough time to really put a lot of thought into it. The grant's actually not due until February of
Okay,
23.
we
so
just have to have
some
an
time.
administrator by the end of the month.
Correct. We just have to get the grant administrator in place by the end of the month, and then the actual application is due in February. There's also a public hearing that will have to happen, so there'll be opportunities for formal action by council to proceed. I just didn't want the first time you'd hear about this to be when it shows up on the agenda as a public hearing, so I just wanted to get it out in front. The projects I'm thinking about, first is a project that's budgeted in 23. That's the playground replacement. If you remember, we cut that project. I want to say we cut it in a third, but that could be something. We've got, I think it's 180 budgeted for that project, which is 2 playgrounds. So we could use that and double that hopefully and replace 4 playgrounds.
In which locations?
Off the top of my head, it would be Grandview, Rice,
Okay.
Bunty, and then probably the far south one in Cary Park would be my top 4. The other project that would be viable would be the Harsha Park or Bike Park Development Project. That project is $350,000. It's in the CIP, but maybe that project can grow and we can do something along Jim Martinez Trail. The other project that Hutchrec's interested in is doing something at Elmdale. We have some money budgeted for a roof replacement at Elmdale in this year's budget, so maybe we could leverage that to do a larger remodel. So there's multiple other options out there, but because of the timing of it, I really have to look at a project we have budgeted now, since we didn't budget specifically for this, but see if there's an opportunity for an existing project that we can leverage that to get additional funds. So as these ideas kind of unfold, and as I talk with more folks, I'll definitely keep everyone involved, keep the city manager up to date on what projects are kind of rising to the top. But like I said, I just wanted to get this out in front of everyone, get some initial feedback, so I didn't invest a bunch of time and energy into it if there was no interest at the council level.
I'm always interested in leveraging other people's money.
Heck yeah.
Going back to the 25%, is like in the scoring matrix, is there greater consideration for 50-50 over 25?
25% is the minimum. If you do 50-50, you get 20 points. So it's 100 points maximum. So really they're pushing everybody to try to do the 50-50.
Gotcha. And we would only identify things that were already in our budget for that, what, 375,000?
Yeah. I mean, we could be really creative and try try to find a project that's not budgeted now and then try to find funds for our 50% match. But I think with the timeframe of February, I think that would be really challenging. We've got some good projects that could use additional resources that we've already vetted out, council's already approved. It's just, growing the scope of that project a little bit, so.
So you're basically just looking for direction on whether or not we approve your engagement with SCED and there's no risk to the city
Correct, at
for that
this
engagement?
point. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have one question.
Yeah.
I would be curious what kind of requirements or restrictions come along with the CDBG grant versus just paying for it outright.
That's something I would like to explore. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have those off the top of my head. I've never done a CDBG. We've done them in planning before, so I'd assume whatever those
Yeah.
requirements are. I'm sure there's some language about certain policies we have to have in place, anti-discrimination, some of that sort of things. But as far as strings down the road, yeah, I'm not 100% familiar. So.
Is that the mechanism we use, that $400,000 grant along A Street for the housing?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be a Jim or a planning question.
Yeah. Where is Jim?
Yeah.
Come on, Jim. Aren't you watching the meeting
Yeah.
down the hall?
Yeah. So again, sorry to kind of bring this up without a lot of the details. I just wanted to at least get it out in front and get some initial feedback. Like I said, there will be opportunity down the road to formally accept this as we can answer some more of those questions about what's the long-term impact.
Do you know how much money is in the pool?
The total pool, I do not.
Okay.
I'm sitting in a webinar tomorrow at noon. KRPA, my professional organization, is putting on a webinar tomorrow to hopefully answer some of those details. So Angela is going to be viewing that as well, and I think Jim's going to sit in. So,
Does council feel comfortable with moving forward on engaging SCED?
I am, yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
you always looking out for these opportunities. Okay, is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the council?
Jeff Shank, Engineering. Councilman Fass had asked for an update. We had done a public meeting for 11th Avenue reconstruct after lull in progress. Since then, they have provided a schedule at that meeting. They have kept up on every date so far. This phase should be opening on Thursday, with the next phase closing down to begin removals. So I mean, they're right on schedule. They've continued their public notices and everything. I haven't had any complaints or calls in or concerns from any residents. So I don't know if there's any more questions on that project or.
Well, I'm just curious, I mean, kind of repeating what I asked Justin, what is the communication plan? Do emails go out to those folks, or is it just like something on their front door? I think it really just comes down to letting people know what's going on, because they think nothing's going on.
We had a email platform. We haven't used it on this project because the last two we ended up with one or two people that signed up,
Yeah.
and so we kind of stopped using it, and we put more into the specifications about contractor communication,
Okay.
which is where there was a breakdown.
Gotcha.
This last phase. So that may have been, again, it's a new specification. There's probably a little bit more that could have been done on implementation and pressure early on to try and get a hold of that sooner. But yeah, no, it's on the contractor to keep open communication. We can go to open public weekly meetings if we need to try and bolster. But as long as usually the contractor's keeping in constant communications and we're not receiving complaints and they're keeping up to the schedule. So if we do get a question about where they're at, we're able to answer it. Typically we don't push any further than that.
No, I mean, I love that method of putting it in the contract with the person where, who's doing the work, but just need to make sure they're doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, do most of our contracts have a performance clause in them or a
Yes.
bond where if they're late, they pay?
Yeah, there's several different mechanisms there, but everything through engineering has liquidated damages. If a contractor fails to meet a guideline or a deadline, they would fall into damages scheme, and that the price of the damages varies on the size of the project or the overall cost of the project.
I think the challenge is that these projects have such a long completion date.
Right.
And so it appears to the general public that they're not on schedule.
Same story.
Same, yeah,
Yep.
same thing as the park situation. So,
Yeah, we've been working on refining our language a little bit on things inside of the project. So yeah, you have a 1-year window on the project, but then you can do this, but once you start, you have 30 days to complete this item, this action item, or you have 45 days on this action item. And so if they get into something where you feel like trying to be foresightful, but you see that there could be a conflict or with the public, that you try to limit that exposure. Like we have some bridges that'll be bidding, and they're going to have like 2 years or a year and a half to start the project. But once they start, they'll only have X amount of days to complete the project inside of that window. So,
I think that's helpful, yeah. It makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
yes.
Jeff, I was walking that a couple weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, and almost every other person, resident in that area has complaints. Is there different things about seeding their yard up front? You know what I mean? They're putting, I ain't gonna say that in front of here what they're doing, but is there any way that we can get somebody off the contractor to see their complaints? I mean, it's not good, because I was walking that, and they knew I was a commissioner, and they let me have it about it. So, I mean, that's their job. But I mean,
Right.
You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
no, absolutely. There's a door hanger that always goes out that has the direct cell phone number to the superintendent for
Okay.
the project. That should always be the first line of
Okay.
communication. If there is no answer or no return call, then I am definitely the second call, because that first call has to go through
Okay.
and needs to be responded to. We receive a log every week from the contractor, or every other week, that just states every phone call that's come in, what the complaint or request was, and how it was addressed. So if I'm not receiving anything on that log, and they're making phone calls and it's not getting returned, then that's an issue. That's a whole other issue that needs to be dealt with.
Okay, well, I took their names and everything, and I'm gonna call them to give them your number.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jeff.
Certainly.
Jeff, one other thing. What about the Woody seat? What's your communication with the engineers that are working on that project?
Woody Seat Phase 1
Well,
I'll just go through it all. Woody Seat Phase 1 with the mill and overlay, we have, that is in 30% design right now. We just submitted it to our consultant. They've been working with our design team to do some designing that needs direct oversight by a structural engineer. Because we have JEO that's been handling some of our engineering duties. So they've been working with our designer. They just finished designing approach slabs to bridges, and so we got that submitted in for review. So hopefully we should be, or no, wait, that'll be at the end of the month. We get that one submitted at the end of the month for review, and so that one will be pushing along. And then Woody Seat Phase 2 is with the roundabout and a study. They're just finishing up the study. We should be seeing something on the November 1st or November 15th pop up. We'll have a review session, and then we'll get some assigned personnel to be here from the consultant group to present all the findings from the study. Hopes is November 1st, but I got to make sure we can get consultants, get everything fully finalized, and get the consultants here to do.
and will that be to the council or for the public? Will it be another public meeting, or?
This one will be to the council.
Okay, all right.
Because it'll just be the findings from the study, and then as a result of all of the outcome from the public meeting. So it shouldn't be too elaborate. And then once we go through, I think once they go through with the findings, they'll look for some guidance on moving forward, and then I have to look at our contract about when our next public meeting would be.
Very good. I've been asked a couple times about the progress, so.
Yep, they're moving along. We had, some of the data takes a little bit to gather, so I think they just finished gathering it 2 weeks ago. Anyways, so they should be getting it here pretty quick.
Very good. Thanks for the information. Should we let him sit down?
I don't know. Any other council questions or comments?
He looks uncomfortable, like
No.
he's sitting there for a little bit.
He's used to the grilling. No, thank you very much.
All right, thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Are there others in the audience who would like to address the council on an item not on the agenda?
Good morning, Mayor, council members. Heather Jobe, 67501. Just wanted to give you guys an update on the Hutchinson Youth City Council. We have gotten applications back from all of the schools and all of the students. We had originally anticipated or hoped to have the first forum with the kids this coming Saturday. However, based off of feedback that we received a couple of weeks back from the schools and some of the counselors, they had asked for additional time for youth to apply. Just getting kids back into the swing of in-person school after being out for a couple of years was a challenge. So we granted the couple of weeks, additional weeks. We picked up applications last week. We spent the last 2 days going through applications, and there are some great candidates. Like, these kids are impressive. So I think we'll come out with some great kids. We had some discussion on how to form their board. At the end of the day, we decided we do want them to reflect you guys as much as possible. So we ended up with a few more applicants than we have positions for, which of course is ideal. However, we don't want to neglect the other youth that have gone through the process, put in the effort, and again, there's some great candidates. So what we've decided is we will have 5 elected members, just as you guys are 5 elected members. However, we're going to encourage the ones that don't win an office at the end to help reach out to the rest of the youth and bring them in as the body, as members, and try and kind of form that engagement with the rest of the youth with their what's going to be newly formed city council. So we're hoping that that will go well. The forum date, because we're coming on holidays and travel plans, so the forum has been rescheduled to December 3rd at 5 p.m. It'll still be at Stringer Fine Arts Center. I hope with that much time ahead of time that you guys can make it. We will not move it on you again. I apologize. But I also wanted to see if you guys have questions about the youth council.
So you said there will be 5 members. Are you doing it by district or just doing it by?
I had thought about, no, we're not,
Okay.
we're not going to do it by
Okay.
district. What we did do is we reserved 1 position strictly for 7th grade, so that we were required to have a 7th grader. 1 position is strictly 8th grade, so 1 is required to be represented from the 8th grade. And then the rest were left open for high school, so that all schools get represented, so we don't have, 5 high schoolers and then the middle schools get left out or something. So there's positions reserved strictly for those ages.
Perfect. And so it's going to be Saturday night, December 3rd
Mhm.
at Stringer Fine Arts,
Right.
5 p.m.
Right, exactly. So the kids will get up there just like in any forum that you guys have done. It's not going to be debate style, strictly a forum. They will be asked questions. The youth, including the candidates themselves, will be able to vote afterwards. We'll go through the ballots and the kids will elect their youth council.
Great.
So I'm excited. I know the kids are excited. We just finished going through applications yesterday. So I believe either Mr. Garza or myself will be reaching out to the candidates themselves in the next day or two to get them updated, bring their parents up to speed, and answer any questions the parents have.
Okay. And how do you anticipate them interacting with our council?
With you guys?
Yeah.
We have a couple of ideas about that. I know that Mr. Garza has made that very important, that I think we want them to meet with you guys at least quarterly. We would want to hear a little bit of feedback from you guys on what you guys want on that too. That's not strictly an us decision.
Okay, great.
You might add about the 6th graders. We had a problem with the 6th graders. They wanted to do it, but we had 6th graders wanted to be on the city council.
Yeah, we had some 6th graders that were sad that
Very
6th grade was not included. However, 5 is 5. So for this year, there won't be any 6th graders on. I don't know if that's something that we'll discuss for in the future,
Yeah.
or if it's something that once you get to 6th grade, be at those meetings and be excited. I don't know. We haven't made that decision yet.
Okay.
So, but we're going to definitely encourage our 6th graders and elementary students to be a part of it. We definitely want them to come and learn and be engaged, whether they can run for the office or not.
Yeah. Well, it's just kind of incredible what you guys have put together. I'm really excited about it. It seems like a lot more structure than we had in our past attempt. So
Mhm.
hopefully it'll stick.
I hope so. I think so. And I feel like the kids are really excited. I know things can be different on paper than in real life, but on paper, we're reading these kids' applications and we're just like, wow. Yeah. So we're excited to meet them and to hear from them. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your work.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Anybody else have any questions for Heather? Or? No?
Okay.
Can I iterate just a little bit? I know this is when I'm going to talk at the last minute, but our plans are real quick, and I met with Gary a little bit about it, as to have their meeting at 9 o'clock. I mean, in the evenings.
Oh.
And we've talked about filming them just like we do.
Yeah.
And hopefully we get them to sit up here too. So they'll meet once a month in the evenings, and it's our last meeting of the month. It's the last Tuesday. And they'll come in the evening and have their session. So
Yeah.
that's the game plan, and they're
Yep.
excited about that. We just told them that, and they just, oh man, we get to be up there and hopefully
Like,
broadcast.
yeah, that was really like amazing to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not as glamorous as it looks, but
That's what I was going to say.
We don't have to tell them that part.
no,
Do
they
get
can
an email address that they can,
get complaints
can hear
too
from the.
about
That
the
would
school
be-
lunches.
Sounds like a youth city council problem.
Yeah, exactly.
That would probably be like a Gary question, not a me question.
Yeah.
There's one youth that we read. She's going to be my writer. She's going to write my speeches for me. So anyway, it's going really well. And at this point, I'd like to thank you both you two, for helping me. You've been a tremendous help for me. And the other, we have an advisory board. They sit on the advisory board, and I have a great board. They advise me, and that's what it's all about. And it's a team effort, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
definitely been a team effort, and not everybody's here this morning, but I appreciate everybody that's put in their time and their effort and their thoughts, because it's been a lot to get it, like, how is this going to work, some of the logistics of it, but it's been great. I think the kids are going to really benefit from this.
Yeah. It'll be a great opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone else in the audience who would like to address the council on an item not on the agenda? It's like the city staff carousel today, isn't it?
It is. I was not expecting that. Well, good morning, Mayor and council members. Izzy Rivera, Director of Building and Neighborhood Services and Building Official. As you probably have all been informed, I have turned in my resignation. My last day will be February 28th. It'll be the end of this month.
October 28th? Or did you
October
say-
20th,
okay.
yes. Know that I did that with a heavy heart. I really love it here. I mean, the only other city that I really loved as much as this one was Benbrook, and it's because of the kind of family feel that we have here in this town. Like I said, when I first came here, remember I said, when we drove down Main Street, we felt at home. We really do feel that, and for us to leave, it's kind of emotional for my wife and myself. But unfortunately, like I tell staff, the order of life is God, family, and work. And unfortunately, I have a family issue that I have to address, and it's back in Texas. So I was outvoted 3-1. So I will be going back. I will be working now for the city of Princeton in Texas. It's just northeast of Dallas, the Dallas area, west of McKinney, if anybody knows that area. But I will still be a part of the city. I have told the city manager that I have permission from my superiors over there that if the city needs me for advice or anything, I'll be more than happy to be available for that, especially with the implementation of the new permitting software that was approved and started. I want to make sure that that still kicks off pretty well, and I'll be able to advise staff here to continue doing that. I think he mentioned, I'm not sure if Mr. Meager had mentioned that we do have an interim selected.
Oh, great. Okay.
In the meantime, is it okay if I?
Absolutely.
Okay. Mike Post, our electrical inspector, will be the interim building official until the building official and director has been selected. That way, the momentum that we've had going for the past 2 years continues, and hopefully with the new person that's coming in, we'll continue that as well. Once again, want to thank each and every one of you. It's been a pleasure and honor serving this body and especially the citizens of this wonderful city.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate your service, Izzy, and wish you all the best in resolving any issues with your family. And I hope you find a lot of satisfaction and joy in your new role. So thank you so much for your service.
Now, just so you're aware, I did finally finish one task that you gave me,
Yeah.
which was working with our landlord association.
Fantastic.
I spoke with her last night because I thought we were going to have a meeting last night. I says, well, I was going to show up and announce, just to say my goodbyes. And she was very sad that that meeting did not happen, so I can do that.
Yeah.
She was going to try and be here to speak on behalf of the landlord association, but know that at least that part was addressed and taken care of. And I expressed my staff to make sure that they continue that relationship,
Great.
building on that. And I think we have a wonderful team here, so I know it will continue and get even better.
Yeah, I feel confident in them and their strong leadership in that landlord association.
Yeah.
So I know that they will definitely push that along if it doesn't occur here. So thank you so much again.
Thank you, and I've heard from the landlords, some of the landlords, and I appreciate how you've changed how they feel about the city.
Right.
And I appreciate your time the other day in your exit interview and those kind words you had to say.
Thank you very much.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to address the council on an item not on the agenda? Hearing none, please call the next item.
Item 5, consent agenda.
Okay, is there a motion or questions on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda and authorize the mayor to sign.
I second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further comments? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Garza,
Yes.
Fast,
Yes.
Bagwell,
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Pyros de Carvalho.
Yes, next item, please.
Item 6, report of city officials.
Okay, let's start with you, Greg.
I had all my questions answered earlier from staff, so I'm good.
All right, fantastic. What about you, Garza?
Okay, well, like I said, me and the team have been spending a lot of time on the youth council. It's going to be great. I'm excited about that. And you're going to see a lot of good things out of our youth. They are very, very smart. Like I said, one of them was going to be my writer. So you see the change, what I got, that writer doing it for me. So, other than that, I forgot to say the other time on the dance, I had a good time, but Mr. Garza's getting older. He can't dance every dance like he used to. So. Other than that, everything else is going well. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, fantastic. What about you, Sarah?
I don't have anything this morning.
Okay, John?
I have nothing to report.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to thank the city manager and staff who attended the League of Kansas Municipalities and council members. The conference was that just last weekend in Overland Park, and just a fantastic opportunity to learn best practices from other communities and kind of stay up to date on the latest in local government management. So appreciated that opportunity to connect with you all, and really that's all I have. Everyone have a happy Halloween. I think we're going to have Halloween before we meet next. So what do you have, Gary?
Good morning, Council. Gary Meager, Interim City Manager. A couple of things. First of all, I wanted to let you know that the county officials in their recent meeting requested that there be another meeting with the City Council between the two governing bodies sometime yet this year. The date, I talked with Randy Partington, the county administrator, on possible dates that the county commission might be available. He was focusing on maybe December 6th, which would be right after our council meeting, or on the first council meeting in December. I don't know if that would work for you. I'm guessing this will be it'll be an over lunch, so probably noon to 1:30, whatever. Right now, we don't have anything on the agenda, but certainly if you do have topics that you would like to discuss, let me know, and we'll try to make sure that we'll try to develop an agenda for that meeting.
That date works for me. How does everyone else feel on that December 6th, Tuesday?
Works for
Okay.
me.
And if it would be okay, we would probably host it. I think the county hosted the last one, the one in the spring, and I think they actually hosted the one that was last year.
Yeah.
So we would host that here, and we'll work on that.
Would we have that back here?
I think so. I think that would be a,
And would we plan to stream that for the public, or just invite the public if they wanted to attend? Because that'd be an open meeting.
whatever you prefer. I think, I haven't talked to Todd, but I think we'd be glad to do whatever you would like to do on that. I don't know how they've handled the past, if the county recorded or streamed those meetings.
They have not been.
Yeah.
But,
We could certainly do it if you'd like.
Yes, I think so. If we can.
yeah, whatever the council's wishes are.
Well, we have limited seating in there for the public, so I think it'd be good to stream it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
They have those cameras. Todd has those cameras. Every time you take a bite of a chip, it like focuses in on you.
That's true.
Yeah. No
The-
chip scare.
The owl.
Yeah, the owl. That's what they're called. Yeah.
Also, I want to thank the staff members that are here today that reported on these projects. I appreciate them staying up to date and making a presentation. Certainly want to thank Izzy for his service to the city, and I'm glad that he mentioned that Mike Post will be filling in. We are advertising for that position, and we'll look towards filling that position when we get a qualified candidate. But I appreciate Mike stepping up and continuing on with the continuity of the department. So, and I'll be working with him as well as other staff. We'll provide whatever support we can to him during that time. Other than that, I really don't have any other reports.
Do you want to give it just a quick update on our next executive search committee meeting?
I can. In fact, I was supposed to get a report yesterday on the number of applicants and all that, but right now, and maybe a new timeline, but right now we're looking at November 1st is when the council will meet with the recruiter, Art Davis. At that time, he'll have a list of candidates. He'll have gone through. Art has not only received applications, but those that are qualified, he's asked for additional information. So he'll have information on these candidates, probably make some recommendations, allow you to look at the list of candidates and their qualifications, make a selection on those that you would like to interview, and set a date for those interviews.
And would that be an evening meeting? Or after the council meeting?
With the interviews, or?
The meeting with Art.
The meeting with Art. We were looking at that being at probably 6 o'clock in the evening on the 1st, so that you'll have the evening to, because that'll take a little bit of time.
Okay. And that would be not an open meeting under
Right, that'll be an
personnel
executive
issues?
session.
Okay. So we're looking at maybe like a 6 to 8, 6 to
That's kind
9.
of, yeah, that's what we were looking at. If you prefer a different time, certainly we can do that. But I know it makes kind of a long day because you have a council meeting in the morning, but I think it'd be good that if you have that time period, you can focus on those candidates.
Yeah. I know that date had already been floated. I didn't have it on my calendar, so I wanted to make sure.
Certainly could start earlier.
And we
Start
could
at
do
5.
that too.
Yeah. Would 5 o'clock be okay?
Yes, we could. And, if you want, we could have, some food brought in so you can kind of work over, have a little bit more time to work on it, because it will, a lot of it depends on how much time you want to spend with the recruiter, but I would guess that would give you, it'd be better if we could adjourn a little bit earlier than later.
Well, and I think we're going to have 30-ish.
I'm sure you're going to have at least 30-ish, because I know we had 33 as probably a couple of weeks ago, and I'm sure we've received a few more.
That's going to take a minute.
Yeah, and he'll do a lot of the screening to
Yeah.
say these are the ones that maybe don't meet the qualifications, and these ones.
Kind of like tier 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would think so. And
Yeah.
then that way, and then allow you to look at all those and make some decisions.
Okay. Is everyone comfortable with 5? Does that work for your schedules?
For me, probably 5:15.
Yeah.
But I could just show up 15 minutes.
Yeah, because we'll be eating the first few
Yeah, you'll
minutes
be
anyway. Okay. What about you, John? I know you work until 5. Okay.
5 work, yes.
So 5 o'clock, I'll
Okay.
get with Art and we'll try to make that happen.
Okay. Tell him to get you that report on the number of.
Okay.
Got to whip him into shape. He's slow, Gary.
We'll try to get you some information ahead of time so you kind of.
Hey, I'm willing to keep you as long as you'll stay. But
Well, I'm glad it's been a pleasure to work with you all. It really has, and staff has been great. So it's been a great experience for me.
yeah, well, you've done tremendous things, and we're very grateful to have you here as long as we've had you. And I know you have overstayed what you promised, and you're still going to be here a few more months. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
You sure you don't want to drop your name in there?
If I was a little bit younger, I certainly would.
I don't know how Brenda would feel about that. Okay, any other questions before we adjourn? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, please call the roll.
Garza,
Yes.
Faust,
Yes.
Bagwell,
Yes.
Richardson,
Yes.
Pyrus de Carvalho.
Yes.